Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to power, community. Here you are, here I shine, here I think I welcome here. Stay there. You're good. Wise. Now in the cold, embrace and let go. Trust. Another one. When you follow your heart, together we are strong. We could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yes, there is a place in this world that all belongs right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to welcome you to be who you are. Let your light shine. There's so much more when we are welcome you are. Welcome you. Breathe out slowly. Surround you. All that's in your welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let's your light shine. There's so much more when we are not. When we are not. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. I hope you all feel welcome this morning. Yes, I know I do. I love this place, and I love feeling that kind of little extra bit of energy I get on Sunday mornings from just being here with all of you. So I am the chief inspirator of the center, Reverend Cindy Grimes. And let's see. Oh, do we have some first-time visitors? We have at least one. I know we have at least one. Hello, hello. And a few people who've only been here a couple of times. So welcome to Circle. Welcome to Circle. So here we go. Circle Sunday. Every Sunday is a little bit different here, right? Every Sunday we do. First Sunday of the month, we do some type of practice usually. Second Sunday is our most traditional Sunday, and third Sunday, which is this one, is our Circle Sunday. So we will start, well, I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Let me not get ahead of myself. So our mission here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala is that we embody and share truth principles and spiritual practices that allow us to awaken to that power and presence that lies within and all around us. This thing that so many of us call God, call it the universe, call it whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. The thing is that it is here, right where we are, and right in the seat where you sit, because we are all expressions of the divine. And so we come together so that we can facilitate a return to that healing in our natural state of wholeness and joy and wonder and all that good stuff. So that's why we come together, so we can lift one another. And our vision is that we are a thriving New Thought community dedicated to spiritual growth and practice, sacred activism, and the transformative love that reveals that interconnectedness and oneness. So, what that statement says to me is just to let people know that there are other centers for spiritual living. There are other New Thought communities. We are just one of them. And we all teach essentially the same thing. We just do it all in our own kind of unique way. And so, what spiritual activism means is that it is the intersection of consciousness and action. It's kind of that place where prayer and service activate love. And so, we're not just talking the talk, which is wonderful. It's not just the prayers, but it is the actual doing of the things, like how we show up in the world. And I want to be a beneficial presence in this world. Does anyone else feel that way? Yes, yes, wonderful. Then you're in the right place. Fabulous. These are our values: the wholeness of spirit, spiritual and personal growth, collaborative, synergistic community, abundance and prosperity, love and compassion, appreciation and gratitude, peace and balance, power of freedom, diversity and inclusion, and generosity. All those wonderful things. Are those important to anybody else here? Yeah, again, then you're in the right place. Yeah, good place to be. So today, oh, that changed. How interesting. I create these slideshows, and every once in a while there's a glitch in the universe and it looks a little bit different. But it's lovely. So yeah, I came up with something really cool. How about that? So every month is a different theme. And this month, I felt the need, with so much turmoil and things going on in the world, not to bring a downer, but you're all living in it too, right? There's a lot of, anybody else feel the stuff happening? And it can be challenging to find our center and to bring ourselves back to a state of peace. I know I have difficulty with that. So we teach what we need to learn, and I'm continually in this mode of doing spiritual practices. And so this month we're talking about those things that help us come back to center. Those things that remind us of joy and fun and all that stuff that kind of makes life worth living, right? So let's see, that is the kind of the overview of the month. And so today we're going to have circle conversations around this topic. But here we go. Let's see what's next. We sit in circle. Part of what I teach is peace building practices. And much of that comes from native, indigenous people. It's one of the things that really is universal about us, no matter which part of the world our ancestors come from, that there was a time when people did this, right? People have been gathering in circles as long as there have been people, sitting around the fire, sitting around the dinner table, just sitting in circle. And so I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the lands on which we sit right now, the original native people. And I'm not going to try to say the names. They are up there on the screen because I don't want to say them wrong. I don't want to be disrespectful to that. But just to remember that these indigenous practices are all part of our DNA and acknowledging where we come from. And so we take a moment of silence. Excellent. And so we appreciate and acknowledge the ancestors that came before us. And so what we teach here, for those of you who may be new to Center for Spiritual Living Ocala or visiting for the first time, what we teach in Centers for Spiritual Living is a philosophy called the Science of Mind. And it is a practical study of consciousness and truth principles that comes from all different parts of life, right? So my educational background to be able to sit here as a minister encompassed not just religion, but philosophy, education, science, psychology, all of those different perspectives. And what we do here is we pull the common threads of all of those things, with the purpose being to empower everyone to maximize their potential. You know, we all come here with gifts and passions and abilities, and I will speak for myself and say that I want to make the very, very most of that before I take that last breath, right? To know that I did it all, right? Did it all, made the most of this wonderful experience that we have in called life. And so it is based on the idea, this teaching is based on the principle that consciousness is the source and substance of all that is, and that we are one with that consciousness, and we use that consciousness to create our experience of life. So many of us are experiencing life through certain lenses, through certain beliefs and thought patterns that have been passed down that may or may not serve us anymore. So part of our study and what we do together is to kind of break that down. Like, let's see, what is the stuff that doesn't serve me? Maybe it served me for a while, but it doesn't serve me anymore. And, you know, come up with our own new paradigms, right? Keep peeling that onion away so we get to the truth of what is at the core of all of us as human beings. So that is what we teach. And why do you think we sit in circle? What'd you say? Equality. Yeah, just yell them out.
See everybody.
You can see everybody. Oneness. Yeah. The flow of everything. No beginning and no end. Yes. Yes. Infinity. Excellent. Yeah. I'm just repeating them because there are people watching at home online. I want to make sure they hear everybody. No hierarchies. I love that part, right? In a circle, we're all learning from each other, and we're all examples, and we're all teaching one another. So let's see if you got it all. So why circles? Circle conversations provide value by fostering deep listening and respectful communication, which builds stronger relationships, increases empathy, and teaches a sense of safety and community in groups. And one of the things also that we're doing this year is a focus on building the beloved community. So how do we be an intentional community with diverse people who have very different points of view and maybe not always agree, but we can always learn from one another. So this is part of the skills that we get in being in circle together. And I think you all mentioned all of these, right? Wholeness, unity, universality, shared power, everyone's valued, everyone's seen and heard. There you go, smart folks. Or you've done it a few times, right? So here is our format. We've just had our opening. We're going to do a little meditation here, a little centering in a moment. And then I'll go over just a little bit of what we talked about earlier in the month. And then we'll go over our guidelines, and we will split out into small groups. And you'll have some questions that everybody will be answering if you choose to do that, if you want to participate in that way. Ready? All right. So, oh, that didn't look lovely. Oh, well. It looks fancy. All right. It looks fancy. I should have just shut my mouth, right? Not brought attention to it. Anyway. All right. So let's take a moment, everybody, and just get nice and comfy. Maybe you want both feet on the ground, and just start to relax your body. And I'm going to invite you to gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. And if you don't, just find something that you can just kind of focus your gaze on and let your gaze go soft. And take a nice, deep, slow breath in. And then release it. Again, breathe in peace. And as you breathe out, let go of anything heavy you might be carrying. One more time. Breathing in presence and exhaling all that has come before and all that's yet to come. Allow your awareness to settle here and now in this sacred moment. Imagine roots gently extending from the soles of your feet deep into the earth. Feel yourself anchored, steady, and supported. With every breath, these roots connect you more firmly to the ground, reminding you that you are safe, you are present, and you are at home right where you sit. Now bring your attention to your heart space. See a soft, glowing light emerging from your heart. And with each breath, the light expands, filling your chest, your whole body, as it radiates outward. This light is spirit expressing in, through, and as you. Now picture each person in this circle as a light that's also shining brightly. As each of these lights radiate, they begin to connect, weaving together like a luminous thread. Each individual adding light to the whole, creating a circle of brilliance, wisdom, and love. In this circle, everyone teaches. In this circle, everyone learns. Each story, each insight, each laugh, every tear adds to the radiance. Because this is the beloved community where spirit speaks not just through one, but through all. Rest for a moment in the warmth of this light, feeling both grounded and uplifted. Know that you are here today on purpose, here for a reason, and that your presence, your voice, your story are all gifts to this circle. Take another deep breath in and slowly release. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, bringing with you the calm, the clarity, and the readiness to give and receive wisdom together. And so it is. Good morning. Welcome. There's a seat right there, if you'd like. Right there. Wonderful. We're all on time, right? The time is always perfect. So, as I said, our theme for this month is about what we're calling soul salves, those things that kind of like act as a balm that heal us. And so I use that analogy of, the stuff that happens in our life. Sometimes we call that BS, right? It's not fun, it's yucky, it's just, it can be difficult. But we can take all of that stuff that challenges us and alchemize it in a way, right? We turn it into fertilizer so that when you are living with intention, you can spread that fertilizer all over the stuff you want to grow and watch it grow even more beautifully because you figured out how to transmute it, right? That's what we do. So this quote from Eric Butterworth says, "All that really counts is what's happening within you. Within you is a limitless, unborn potential of creativity and substance. And the present experience may be your greatest opportunity to give birth to that. Whatever it is inside of you that is wanting to emerge, like this time, even if you're going through challenges, and maybe especially if you're going through challenge, is helping you to give birth to this thing that is inside of you that's wanting to come forward. And so, thus, tragedy can become a blessing. Disadvantage can become an advantage. Failure can become an opportunity. And disappointment can become his appointment. Right? Now, if I was writing the quote, it might be a little different. That was Eric Butterworth in his idea of what God is, right, in spirit. So he used his, but make it whatever their appointment. How about that? And so those salves, those things are sometimes, I think we give, maybe we put it on the back burner. We just don't think it's that important. Like when kids are in school, you have these electives. You have to take art, you take PE, you take music class. And then, when dollars are short, those are the first things they cut out. And so we walk around like that stuff's not really important. But I will speak for myself that in this time, which for me has been very difficult, the political climate and the divisiveness and the meanness and things that I think we're probably all seeing and experiencing to some degree or another, that I have needed to step back and say, wait a minute, how do I heal myself? How do I keep myself back centered while all of this crazy is swirling around me? And so this quote from Gabrielle Roth really spoke to me. And it says, in many shamanic societies, if you came to a shaman or a medicine person complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, or depressed, they would ask one of the four questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted by stories? And when did you stop finding comfort in the sweet territory of silence? This is experienced as a loss of the soul. So dancing, singing, storytelling, and silence are the four universal healing salves, right? And to that, I added laughter. Because I was reminded in an experience with family, cousins, everybody got those, fun people you grew up with. Maybe it's not your cousins, but friends. With those people, you can have that really deep belly laugh, and you laugh until you're crying, and it just kind of lightens everything up, right? It dissipates what's going on. So again, the more stuff you're going through, the more important it is for you to take those moments in that time to have that good laugh, or to dance like nobody's watching, or sing at the top of your lungs, or stomp on the ground like I used to tell my kids when they'd get mad about something, they'd be really angry. It's like, you stomp those angries out. And they do that. They'd be jumping up and down and stomping out the angries. And before you know it, the angries are gone. And all that's left is some fun and laughter. Right? So we just need to do that for ourselves, even as adults, right? Remind ourselves that these things are really important. And it may not be those four things. Maybe your thing is art. Maybe it's writing. Maybe that's how you get stuff out of your system. Maybe it's just forest bathing, right? Whatever that is, do more of it. We all need to be doing more of that. So in the Bible, it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I think that's what these things do for us, right? They help us to renew ourselves and renew our hearts and renew our minds. That also is not lovely. So that's basically what we're talking about this morning. That's the subject matter. And so now for how we're going to go out into circle. Does anyone want to say anything about what we've talked about so far? Any insights, anything you want to add, anything like that? And I'm looking at my spiritual leadership team here. Anything? We're good? All right. So this is then how circle works. The guidelines for circle. I think there might be a couple missing that's underneath that picture there, but of course, being present. How important is it that we be present? And what we mean with that is that, anything that's come before, anything that's coming after, any worries, all of that stuff you might have in your head, you let it go. That's why we do that meditative moment. And you just be here, be here now, be present. Wait. Yes, please do.
The part that I want to add about the being present part is to just know that your presence is the present. And so when somebody is sharing their story or their history or their experience, you are the witness. Sometimes you're being called to just sit in that witness space. So you're not really sharing and saying, well, my advice is this or my advice is that. That's not the case. Your presence, just another human being looking back with non-judgment and just listening is wonderful. So it's your presence and you're already doing it so beautifully. So thank you.
Yeah, tell folks who you are.
Oh, I'm Donna. I'm one of the practitioners here. What's up? I'm one of those people who dip into those indigenous practices and use them as a registered nurse. I teach people how to get back to their body and take control of their health care, not their sick care.
Awesome. Yes, presence. I love it. And that is the gift that we give one another, really, is our presence, right? Our time, our attention. It's really, it feels good too when somebody gives you their presence, doesn't it? Yeah. So WAIT, W-A-I-T, what does that stand for? Anybody remember? Go for it.
For the extroverts, it's why am I talking? And
Yes.
for the introverts, it's why aren't I talking?
Yes, thank you. Yes, right. So the ideas in circling, we don't use a talking piece, but that might be a nice addition, is, we can't have somebody like dominating the conversation too much, but we also want to hear from everybody, so think about that. If you tend to talk a little extra, then maybe reel it back in. And if you're not a big talker, maybe do a little extra, make an extra effort to really participate in the circle. Okay? But we want to hear everybody.
And honestly, if you're one that processes on the inside, like our introverts, by the time they're done processing, what comes forward is such beauty that we would totally not get that from spirit if you don't open your mouth and say. So don't be shy. Please be brave and share. And for me, I'm an extrovert, so I process externally. So it gives me a chance to take it in and be fed.
Awesome. Yes. Let us be mindful of time. Again, it's really fun. How many of you love Circle? I love Circle Sunday. I love Circle Sunday. Some people don't love it, but when you get into it, like, most everybody loves it. And I always hate to come over and be like, oh gosh, it's done, because everybody's connecting and they're laughing and having a good time. But, we're only here for a little bit. Like, we don't want to be here all day. So please be mindful of time. And then we're going to have multiple groups. So remember that there are other groups that are still talking and processing. Yours might be done, but, just honor them as they wrap things up for themselves. And so just remember, there's other groups. And then the parking lot, the idea of the parking lot is if something comes up in the conversation of the circle and it's not totally relevant, it might be a little off to the side, then we hold it. And if we have time later, then we address it. Okay, so that's what parking lot is for. So circle is not for lecturing, persuasion, giving advice, or therapy. While it may feel very cathartic and therapeutic, it is not therapy. And I'm going to ask, sometimes someone will say something in a circle and you'll be like, oh, but, like I really want to help that person and I want to give them some advice and I want to tell them all about my experience to help them. This is not the time to do that. Okay? If you want to do that, maybe catch them after and say, hey, I had a similar experience. Would you be open, or are you interested in getting some advice on that, or whatever? But don't do it in the circle, please. Okay? Circle, everybody gets to share. It's not really even a conversation. Okay? It's just everybody gets to share from their perspective what on the prompt, whatever that is. Okay? So please, while I am talking a lot, I don't want to lecture. Not trying to persuade people to your point of view. We're not here to give them advice. And as I said, it's not about therapy. What Circle is for is providing structure and process for conversations that foster mutual respect. And so much of the stuff that we need today. right? We get to practice hearing people coming from different perspectives and different points of view. So circle processes can be used for a lot of stuff, you know, family drama, issues with your coworkers and neighbors. When you get used to coming together in circle, especially around fun and more preventive stuff, it's a lot easier to come together when you have a conflict and be able to overcome that. So there you go. All right. So that's it for all the intro stuff. Does anyone have any questions? Any more comments? And how many people do we have? How many do we have? Yeah. Thank you. 31 not counting me and Donna. So shall we have, yeah, okay. So maybe, how many of these do we have? 5 circles of 6? Sounds good. All right. So what we're going to do is count. We'll start with you and then we'll count to 6 and then 6 again.